not, that concludes the debate. Leader of Government Business.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the Assembly do now adjourn.
The question is that the Assembly adjourn. Are there any speakers? Member for Karama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I'm very excited to make my adjournment speech. This evening I wish to share with members of the Assembly a draft letter that I intend to present to the next CLP annual conference. So let me read my draft letter to you. Dear members of the CLP, I know we are now celebrating the first anniversary of our comprehensive election victory, and let me pay tribute to all of you who contributed to this victory. But today, I wish to nominate for a special meritorious award from the CLP a person who I believe made the single biggest contribution to help us win government last August. I acknowledge that there are many other worthy candidates from across our party who could also be nominated, with not the least being our Chief Minister, Leah Finocchiaro. But no, the person I nominate is an unsung hero who has been fully self-sacrificing and absolutely articulate in convincing residents who are traditionally rusted on Labor supporters or swing voters to come and vote for the CLP. Members, it is my privilege to nominate the member for Gwadja for this prestigious award. I know this may have come as a surprise to some of you, but let me explain. The member for Gwadja worked tirelessly for us to become the worst Attorney General ever, facilitating the exponential growth in crime, the destruction of our economy and ruining our territory lifestyle. And in doing so, he allowed unfettered access to alcohol to previously dry communities in Central Australia and absolutely brought Alice Springs to its knees. And whilst doing this, he still managed to purchase shares in an alcohol company that would benefit from this unfettered access. Members, how can we forget how often the member for Gwadja got on the Katie Wolf show the week that was and deliberately used his natural talents to rudely interject and spruik his party's policies of putting victims last and offenders first. And of course, these deliberate and well-planned ramblings and occasional crocodile tears just sent voters to us in droves. And we need to thank him for this. Members, you may recall that every time we knew the member for Gwadja had been scheduled to speak, we would all jump for joy and freely let him speak as long as he could, knowing he was out to deliberately kick as many own goals against the Labor Party as he could. And members, let us not forget in the last few months of the election campaign, the penny finally dropped and the then Chief Minister, the Honourable Eva Lawler, exiled him back to his electorate. But it was too late. He'd already worked his magic for us, the CLP. But wait, members, I have further great news. Our wonderful member for Gwadja is not satisfied with just getting us into government. He is now putting in a magnificent effort to ensure we get re-elected with an even larger majority. Rather than just employing the broad territory-wide strategies he used last year, he has now embarked on an electorate-specific approach to help me and my colleagues retain our seats. Is there no end to his generosity? For example, members, following estimates, the member for Gwadja sneakily issued a press release which was cited by Katie Wolf on her 360 program, personally criticising me as the humble MLA for Karama for being useless and failing my community in terms of public housing reforms. Now, members, unlike Labor, I'm not offended by this, and like you, I respect free speech, and I certainly don't feel defamed. In fact, completely the opposite, because I know what the member for Gwadja's real intention was. He was once again using his natural talents of acrimonious commentary to remind residents of my electorate as to why they never wanted to vote for Labor again. And once again, I thank him. And members, just so you know, Katie Wolf reached out to the residents of Karama to respond to the member for Gwadja's comments. And Katie then read out what they said. Let me quote what some said. The first resident said, "Chancey has more hide than a pack of elephants. Those in glass houses shouldn't be throwing rocks. Chancey shouldn't be calling anyone useless. Brian's done more for Karama Malak than anyone since Delia Laurie. Brian is a great member for Karama," says that text. Another one here. "Good morning, ladies. As a long-time resident of Malak who lives in an area that has a lot of housing issues, I find it utterly ridiculous for a Labor politician to make the statements that Chancey's made. Brian is an awesome local member. He always available to his constituents, and when he sees us out in the community, always makes time to talk to us. His predecessor would not even acknowledge me at election time. Yes, we have a long way to go with our issues in our area, but given Labor put us in the too hard basket, I find these comments unbelievable given we're in a situation that we're in. Thanks to Labor," says that text. And another one here. "Hi, Katie. It's a pity Chancey's mob couldn't collect $80 million per year in remote rent. That would have gone a long way towards new housing over the last 15 years. Members, you just have to love the residents of Karama, Malak and Nucky Lagoon for their honesty and judgment. So, CLP members, I hope I have demonstrated how the member for Gwadja is our golden goose that just keeps giving, and we should recognise this wonderful contribution. Members, I can only imagine how the next ALP conference will play out. I can see the Leader of the Opposition addressing a very small crowd and, whilst glancing uneasily behind her at the member for Gwadja, saying, "Comrades, let me remind you that there is no I in team, but there is definitely three in Village Idiot." Factually correct, but a bit harsh, I think, a bit harsh. Now, members, I know many of my fellow MLAs are queuing up to get the member for Gwadja to work his magic and criticise them and generate the same defensive response from their constituents. But I'm a little bit selfish, and I ask that they wait, because this wonderful village idiot is mine at the moment, and I absolutely treasure his support. He publicly claims to be a Richmond supporter, and yet I know he's working side by side with me in the true Collingwood spirit. As such, I ask that we as a party pay tribute to this true CLP believer. Now, Madam Speaker, on another note, I know that some MLAs may suffer from insomnia. My advice to those members is to avoid drugs and just use natural therapies, including closing your eyes and imagine a happy space. Rather than counting sheep, my happy space is imagining the Teletubbies dancing around the sun. God. And then Tinky Winky breaks away, races off to the stock exchange saying, "I want to buy alcohol shares." And when asked how many he would like to purchase, he mimics his banana splits friends and says, "1 share, 2 shares, 3 shares, 4. Give me these and many, many more." Thank you, Madam Speaker. Sweet dreams to all, and God bless the member for Gwadja.